This is Dabu7, and a big time heads up here for folks that are traveling into Florida, especially down I-10 through Alabama. They now have confirmation that there is a checkpoint set up here at the state line. They're telling everyone to get off at the way station except for truckers. It's actually reversing the role that we see all the time on the highway. Now, this truck stop is being used as a stop for everyday people that are coming in, and they're asking them questions as to, like, where are you from and where are you going? There's no word if more are going to be set up. They also state that anyone that they catch coming from Louisiana has to go on a mandatory 14-day quarantine or face a misdemeanor charge. Now, I already warned about what they're doing in Rhode Island, using the police and National Guard to look for New Yorkers in the area. And it seems like down here in this area, they're using the same kind of excuse, looking for people from Louisiana or other hotspots, potentially New Yorkers as well. They're not giving out a ton of details, but what we do know is there is a checkpoint here that everyone has to go through no matter what, since the governor just signed this executive order on it. So heads up. You're deciding to go through here or have to travel through here for whatever reason, expect to have to go through this checkpoint. I'll leave a link below. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and join us over here on D Live, where I'm going live multiple times throughout the week, breaking down all the latest news and events that we see.
All right, let's start out by saying Barakateh Hawa, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Times of Trouble. As you just heard, Dabu7 mentioning that there were mandatory checkpoints set up at Florida-Alabama state line. And pretty much this is going to be the normal throughout the U.S. You know, it started up out there in Rhode Island, where they're pulling over New York plates, but now it's pretty much out-of-state plates in different states are going to be quarantining people, you know, that are not from that state. You know, I have an article here, End of the American Dream. Some states are now intercepting travelers from other states and forcing them into quarantine. So now if you leave your state where you're in and you go into another state, you know, what's happening now is that, you know, if you get pulled over or if they have these different roadblocks, they're going to be quarantining people that are crossing over state lines, you know. And, you know, this is the times that the Lord spoke of were coming, you know, through different prophets in different times. 2 Timothy 3:1, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And the perilous times are here, but the stranglehold is getting tighter and tighter. Now, I know we looked this word up before, but let's look it up again. The word for perilous is kalepos, which means hard to do, to take, to approach. So these times, these days that are coming are going to be hard to take, hard to do, hard to approach, especially here in America, where the average American is so used to an easy life here. They are undisciplined. They eat what they want to eat when they want to eat it. You know, they can have sex with whoever they want to have sex with. There's no boundaries. There's no penalties for breaking, you know, the law of adultery or the law of a homosexual, or, you know, there's no penalties. There's no, you know, bestiality and different things of that nature. You know, people are eating whatever the hell they want to eat. That's why America has become the glutton capital of the world, pretty much. You know, the average person you see out there walking around is morbidly obese. You know, some of them can't even walk five paces without even stopping and catch their breath. You know, so this place is heading for perilous times. And this is the Lord, you know, bringing hell upon this place. Because, you know, although we believe that there's something out there with this virus or pestilence as it's concerning the scriptures, because prophecy say that the Lord is going to bring pestilence upon this land. But the severity of it as of this moment is not as bad, as they say it is, but they're using it as a catapult for their new world order, and to bring forth all this legislation and the stopping of these freedoms and liberties of people coming and going as they please like they used to. Amos 3:7, surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. Like I meant to jump to the 6th verse. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord have not done it? So the Lord is causing these things to happen. So there is something out there. The severity of it we don't know, and the reason why I say it is because prophecy says that the Lord is going to bring pestilence, but they're playing this thing out, and it's not as serious as they say. But the Lord can make it take a turn for the worse, and let it get out of hand, so that it can bring forth judgments of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Now, we just read, how there's certain states that are intercepting travelers from other states and forcing them into quarantine. This is from New York. Mayor grants New York NYPD power to issue fines up to $500 for failing to social distance live updates. So at first they gave the order of social distancing 6 feet, no more than 10 people, no more than 3 people, no more than, whatever people. And people are still out there, out and about doing what they do. So now they're going to start cracking down even more, because this is going to be the new norm. And social distancing pretty much, if you have a boyfriend and girlfriend or husband and wife walking down the street, if they're able to, they're not going to be able to hold hands. They're going to have to keep apart, So, they're systematically breaking down the liberties, so-called freedoms of the average American. And this is worldwide, but we're dealing with America because this is, where we live at. All right. So now let's check out this video here. This is from Brooklyn. The brothers from Chicago posted this up and I was watching it. I'm not sure if somebody sent it to me. Probably did. But this says something is not quite right here. So I'm going to let y'all check this out.
This is Todd Starnes, and this is here in my downtown Brooklyn neighborhood. They've been telling us on the news, and the Democrat leaders have been telling us that the hospitals here in New York City have been turned into war zones. And I thought it would be good to get out today and to show you what's happening, at least in my neighborhood. Now, again, this is not to diminish the virus or the crisis at all. This is just simply to explain to you what we are actually seeing in reality compared to what we are seeing on the television and what the Democrats in charge are telling us. So look, this is outside of our hospital here in Brooklyn. This hospital serves thousands and thousands of people. Now, this is the line to get tested for the coronavirus right here. This is where the line starts. And folks, I'm here to tell you, at this very moment, not a single person is in line waiting to get tested. This is the emergency room. And you would expect, if you believe the mainstream media, that this emergency room would be overflowing with people. And as you can tell, there are no people here. Now again, this is not to say that this situation could change, but I'm telling you right now, this is what's really going on in New York City, here in Brooklyn. So this is the hospital, so let's go around and let's see if there's anything happening at the front of the hospital. But folks, this is what really aggravates me. Yes, this virus is a serious issue, but the reality is I'm afraid that the mainstream media has been overblowing the coverage here. There's been a lot of fear-mongering going on, and that is unacceptable. So this is the front of the hospital, and as you can see, there are not thousands of people trying to get into the hospital as the mainstream media has been telling us. And it seems to be fairly quiet out here for the time being. So folks, I just want you guys to get an idea. We're going to be going to another hospital in the neighborhood just momentarily, but I want to give you an idea of what's happening here at the Brooklyn Hospital Center here in New York City. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what the mainstream media ought to be doing. We are an opinion radio show, but today we're becoming journalists so that we can present you the facts that you need. And it's pretty shameful what the mainstream media is doing, and it's absolutely unacceptable. So I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, why is an entire city of 8 million people on lockdown and there's nobody in line waiting to get tested? Why is that, ladies and gentlemen? That's a question that we're going to get an answer to. I can promise you that. All right, this is Todd Starnes signing off from here in downtown Brooklyn. Folks, do me a favor. I want you to share this video and let people know what's really going on here in New York City.
Right. So what I want to do now is I want to put up the precept that the brother just put up. I didn't catch the brother's name because it went by so quick. But in the book of 2nd Ezra 15, I'll start at 11. I'll start at 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. And this is what's happening. Jacob's being led to the slaughter, and they don't even understand or realize what's going on, in their area, in their lives. They can't make heads or tails of what's going on because pretty much they've been in play mode the whole time. They haven't, very few Jakes are into, researching and looking into things, keeping their eyes open. For the most part, Jake is all about pleasure and having a good time. It says, I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Why? Because the Lord is going to deliver us out here. But before he does that, he's going to cause a serious turmoil to make things uncomfortable because everybody's been comfortable for too long. And now it's time for the discomfort to come in, and start, plaguing these average Israelites out here that pretty much are, as the so-called elite call them, useless eaters, It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm, because the Lord is coming with the chariots to come and deliver the elect of the nation of Israel, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. So the same way the Lord smote ancient Egypt with plagues, he's going to do the same thing here in modern day Egypt, which is America. When we read Revelation, the 11th chapter, the 8th verse, it says that this place is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. So this is the modern day Egypt. And these plagues that you see happening are plagues that the Lord is using on America. It doesn't have to necessarily be the same exact plagues that happened in Egypt, although some of those will come to pass. Or if the Lord wants to bring the same plagues he brought in Egypt, he could do whatever he wants to do. But the point is that the Lord is smiting Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Back then, the land of Egypt was not destroyed. There was not a blade of grass or anything destroyed in the land of Egypt. The only thing that was destroyed in the land of Egypt, which really wasn't in the land of Egypt, it was outside of the land of Egypt, was the Pharaoh, his army, and their chariots and horses. That's what was destroyed, not the land of Egypt. So this particular Egypt is not talking about ancient Egypt. It's talking about the modern day Egypt, which is America, Babylon the Great, aka Egypt, aka Sodom and Gomorrah, aka Nineveh, aka Babylon the Great, so on and so forth. All right, it says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. And the ultimate plague and punishment will be those nuclear missiles and the chariots, when the chariots come and shoot lasers upon this place and totally destroys it. All right, so now let's go back, and what I'm going to do is move forward here. This is in Texas. Kazan, I guess it's pronounced. Texas National Guard troops could do door-to-door checkups around Dallas. You see, so now it's going from the National Guard out in Rhode Island, going door to door looking for New York residents that are seeking refuge in Rhode Island to quarantine them, to now in Texas, the National Guard troops could go door to door and check around Dallas, to see if there's any infected people, so-called. All right. It says Texas National Guard troops. This came out March 27, 2020, the year of prophecy, which was a few days ago. It says Texas National Guard troops could end up going door to door in some Dallas neighborhoods to check on residents. Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins said. He said Texas National Guard troops would be on a medical mission and not there for law enforcement reasons, which is bullshit because let's say they deem you, let's say they scan somebody and they have a fever. They might have, some kind of, they might just have a virus, not a virus like as far as the coronavirus, but they could have some type of ailment where the body's fighting it off with a fever, and they said, no, you got a fever, you got the coronavirus, you coming with us. And what happens if they say, I ain't going nowhere? They're going to arrest them. So they are going to be there for law enforcement reasons, but this is just a cover. Like, no, don't worry, they're just checking on people. Yeah, but what happens when they find somebody? They're going to forcibly remove them. And if they refuse, they're going to arrest them. It says they would check in with people to see who may have come in contact with coronavirus patients. And just based off of your answer to that, what happens? They could just whisk you away. And we just read that the mayor of New York, mayor grants NYPD power to issue fines up to $500 for failing to social distance live updates. So pretty much it went from a voluntary thing to now slowly but surely becoming mandatory by penalty of either a fine or jail time. And that's how the devil operates. So as we move along, day by day, they're putting that stranglehold on America. All right, now we got here U.S. military command teams in charge of protecting Homeland Security are being isolated in the infamous Cheyenne Mountain bunker where they will remain sealed off until the coronavirus pandemic passes. And remember, Trump has said at one time it could last up to about 18 months, something like that. So now they're talking about extending the quarantine another 30 days. So slowly but surely they're adding more time. And as they're adding more time, they're actually restricting the people more and more and more. To where now by this point, everybody's now starting to get conditioned to living this way. It's like become the normal. All right, let's see if we can read it. This is the actual place here where they're being whisked away to. U.S. military command teams in charge of protecting Homeland Security are being isolated in infamous Cheyenne Mountain. So why are they being isolated? Because they plan on bringing something. They plan on doing something, devastating. Because this is the perfect opportunity for them to do that. Because it is in the power of their hand. Let's read that real quick. Let's go to Micah chapter 2. And I have a bunch of scriptures, which I don't know if we're going to get to. But we'll see what the Spirit allows. Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. So they have that God-like power to say, we're going to do this or we're going to do that. Pretty much. And they have the authority to do it because the earth has been given into their hands. So going back, let's see what we can find. Part of the U.S. Army's Northern Command in charge of Homeland Security is isolating at the Cheyenne Mountain bunker in Colorado as the coronavirus spreads across the country. The bunker is a command and control site which was built inside the mountain of the same name located near Colorado Springs. And remember, the scriptures say that when this destruction comes, they're gonna hide in these mountain retreats. But what happened? The Lord said he's going to get them. Let's go to that real quick. Amos chapter 9, verse 2. Though they dig into hell, which is what? Into the ground, into the grave, meaning making underground bunkers, then shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, space stations, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, which is what? A mountain retreat, such as what we're witnessing here. The Cheyenne, what is it? The Cheyenne Mountain bunker. You see? So the Lord got them covered on every way. I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. So even if they have underground, anywhere they're at, even if they have cities in the sea or bunkers in the sea, the Lord is going to get them one way or the other. So they're not escaping. All right, let's see what else we can find here. It says, to ensure that we can defend the homeland despite this pandemic, our command and control watch teams here in the headquarters split into multiple shifts, and portions of our watch team began working from Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station, creating a third team at an alternate location as well. Air Force General Terrence O'Shaughnessy, head of U.S. Northern Command and NORAD, said during a Facebook Live town hall with those under his command. And notice that Facebook Live. Now they're stopping the average person from doing live videos that are bringing out truth, slowly but surely interrupting the output and all of that. But they have military men making these statements across these different platforms that were set up before, because that's what they were really set up for the military. And now when they take control over through executive order, which is one of the mediums of communication, which they have the power to take over, then they can broadcast their messages across these different platforms. Our dedicated professionals of the NORAD and NORTHCOM Command and Control Watch have left their homes, said goodbye to their families, and are isolated from everyone to ensure that they can stand the watch and each and every day to defend our homeland. Yeah, right. So this is these perilous times that were supposed to come, and that are here, that are coming, not supposed to, that are coming. And they are here, but they're becoming more and more intense as each day goes by. It says hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage. Because at the end of the day, the devastation that's coming and the times that are coming are going to be very detrimental to the people. That's why, ultimately, after all is said and done, when Yahushua comes with the chariots and the angels, that's going to be the ultimate, and that's when people are just going to lose it, because they're going to go from bad to worse. Daniel 12:1, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. So this time of trouble is fast approaching. It's here, but it's just being intensified. And the word for trouble is tazarah, which means fear. Straits, distress, trouble, vexer, rival, rife. So straits, and the word straits here is what? A position of difficulty. Let's see what it says. Straits, a narrow passage of water connecting two seas or two other large areas of water, which usually it's harder for a ship to pass through there than it would on open sea. It says used in reference to a situation characterized by a specific degree of trouble or difficulty. The economy is in dire straits. Well, the world is in dire straits right now. And that's right. The famine of the word is coming. It's here pretty much, but it's going to intensify. So much so that now you have scoffers asking questions. You have fallouts calling brothers. You have other camps that ridicule us about certain things, using phrases like the year of prophecy. Like Zabak and them, they did a live show, which I believe it was a live show on the class of the Passover, before Passover, and they actually put on the title the year of prophecy. So did they come up with that on their own? I think not. Everybody knows that through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem El Shai, Elder Apostle Tahar, the spirit gave him that to name this year the year of prophecy, and they're using it. But most of those camps, not to bash them right now, but just saying, most of those camps talk shit about us, So I will leave it at that, because this is not about that anyway. All right, so now let's go from there. Let's hit some of these precepts. Let's go, and I'm going to read the rest of this, Lord's will, after, but I want to get to the point of the times of trouble. Let's go to Psalms, the 60th chapter, and the 9th verse. It says, who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Because Edom right now has power and a firm grip on the whole planet, because the Lord gave it into his hands. So they are the strong city. No one can make war with them. You have to mount many different superpowers and militaries to come up against America. So the Lord has to wipe Esau off the map, so to speak. Well, not thou, which means when he's going to wipe Esau off the map, means he's going to wipe his kingdom off the map. Well, not thou, O Most High, which hadst cast us off, And thou, O Most High, which didst not go out with our army. So it's the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, ultimately, that's going to protect us in these perilous times. Give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. And that word trouble should be, Tazarah, which is another, it's the same word, but this is just a different variation of it, So give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Because the scriptures say that no man shall save thee, no man shall help thee, no man shall buy thee. So Yahweh Shai has to be the one to come to deliver us. Through the Most High we shall do valiantly, for he it is that shall tread down our enemies. And that's why at the very end, our enemies are going to behold us. They're going to see, the Lord delivering us. And they're going to be in a bad case, because to them, we're the joke of the world. But now that they see these things coming, they're starting to reconsider, like, well, I don't know. Maybe these guys might be right. And this is why the onslaught of persecution is coming. The different, scenarios, of the pedophile and the rapist and the this and the that. And that is a mechanism of Esau to defame somebody, to demonize someone, so that the average person out there will dismiss the message that they're bringing. And that's Esau's. These are part of Esau's tactics, those divide and conquer tactics. But let's go to Psalms, the 17th chapter, and let's start at the 8th verse. It says, keep me as the apple of the eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wings, because at the end of the day, our protection lies solely in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. For the wicked doth oppress me. And Esau, which is the wicked, they are oppressing us, because they are the ones that are pushing all of this madness that's going on in the world today. The taking away of the freedoms, the bad foods and the bad air, and all these different chemicals and vaccines and different things that they're pushing out there to pretty much destroy the immune system. This is why brothers are sick. This is why brothers have digestive issues, headaches, have issues in their bodies, because of the lousy food and the lousy air and the lousy water, the plastic and the, you name it. It says, from my deadly enemies, because they are deadly and they plan on bringing death. Remember the Georgia Guidestones, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature, which is the very first demonic commandment of Esau, who compass me about. And now they're not compassing us about, encircling us and camping around us, just like we read in before and many times in Luke, the 19th chapter and the 21st chapter, where the armies, the Roman military encompassed the Israelites back during 70 AD. Well, they're doing the same thing now. And the word for compass is naquap, which means to strike off skin, to go around, compass, round. So what are they doing right now? They're sending their military and their different police forces, their different FEMA troops all throughout the United States to pretty much compass all of these different cities, to put them on lockdown and to enforce the laws of the New World Order. It says to go around, surround, encompass, and close. So we get the point. Complete the circuit. See? So let's go back. It says, from the wicked that oppress me, from my deadly enemies who compass me about, they are enclosed in their own fat. With their mouth they speak proudly. And that's what they're doing. They're speaking proudly. And this is why they will not be deprived of getting off their New World Order. But they will be deprived because the Most High will throw a monkey wrench in there eventually. They have now compassed us in our steps. Yeah, even in our steps, to where they're limiting where we can go. It says, they have set their eyes bowing down to the earth. And that's what they're doing. They're watching everything. They have drones out there that can tell if somebody has a so-called coronavirus and this, that, and the other. They have checkpoints that are pretty much being set up in place all over the place. They're actually going door to door now, and they see the people ain't doing nothing. What the people doing? They're just letting them in. They see the people ain't doing nothing. So they said, man, these people are ready for the plucking. And that's why the more they do, And the less the people do, the more that they're going to continue to move forward. See, we, on the other hand, we're waiting for the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua to come deliver us. See, these people out here that have no hope, Esau and the other nations, they don't have a hope in this. And 2/3 of Jake don't have a hope in this. So they're going to have to take up arms against the military. See, we're waiting on Yahweh Bashem Yahushua to defend us, as we read in the scripture in Psalms the 60th chapter, who will bring me into the strong cities. So they have not compassed us in our steps. They have set their eyes bound to the earth, like as a lion that is greedy of his prey, and as it were a young lion lurking in secret places. And that's what they are. They're like the lion seeking for prey, lurking. Matter of fact, let's look up this word lurking. Let's see what that says. Lurking, yashab, which means to sit. Yashab means to sit. To dwell, remain, sit, abide. See? To sit down. So pretty much they're just sitting and waiting. They're setting the traps, but they're sitting in there and waiting for the people to fall into these traps. Mainly you Israelites out there, you so-called Negros, Latinos, and Native American Indians. So it's like as a lion that is greedy of his prey, and as it were a young lion lurking in secret places. And that's what they're doing. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him. In other words, thwart his agenda. Cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. And the wicked is the sword of the Lord. Let's go real quick to, I don't want to lose that. Let's go to Romans chapter 13 real quick in verse 4. It says, for he is the minister of the Most High. Who? These different militaries and police forces that are set up pretty much around the world. For he is the minister of the Most High to do to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. And these devils do not bear that sword in vain. And that sword is given to them as what? As a punishment and as a judgment unto 2/3 of the so-called Negros, Latinos, and Native American Indians out there who are the Israelites. For he is a minister of the Most High, a revenger, to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. And this is the Lord bringing this wrath upon these devils, upon the devils among Jake, because they're doing evil, and they're not stopping that evil wickedness that they're doing. So now, before we read on to the next scripture, let's go back here. From men which are thy hand, O Lord, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure, they are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. So these devils are the sword of the Lord. They don't bear the sword in vain. They are the ministers of the Most High, to revenge, a revenger, to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. And this is Jake. 2/3 of Israel are doing it. Let's go real quick to Deuteronomy, the 31st chapter, and the 16th verse. It says, and the Lord said unto Moses, behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up and go a-whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land. And they're doing that to this very day. This is why they're worshiping sweet Jesus and the so-called white God. They're eating whatever the hell they want to do. They're sleeping with whoever the hell they want to sleep with, and many other different abominations that Jake is doing out there. Whether they go to be among them and forsake me and break my covenant which I have made with them, then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them. And the time of forsaking for Jake is at hand. It's fast approaching. And I will, and the thing about it is they don't see the signs that are right plain right in front of them. They don't see the signs of the perilous times, surrounding them and encompassing them and setting themselves up in place to pounce on Jake. And I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them. And that happened in every captivity we went to. But this time is going to be even worse, because it's the very last time. This is the final stretch. It says, so that they will say in that day, are not these evils come upon us, because our power is not among us? And then that's when they're going to acknowledge that the Most High, is the one doing this. But for a lot of them, it's going to be too late. It says, and I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evils which they shall have wrought. In that day and that they are turned unto other gods. And this New World Order agenda of Esau with the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, that is total devotion to the gods of the other nations, especially of Esau. And that is a total subjection to another god, another deity. It says, now therefore, Salaki for 1 second. Yeah, now therefore, while write ye this song for you, and teach it the children of Israel, put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. And that's the words of this book. For when I shall have brought them into the land which I swear unto their fathers, that floweth with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves, and waxen fat, then will they turn unto other gods, and serve them, and provoke me, and break my covenant. And to this very day, Jacob is breaking that covenant. And it shall come to pass, when many evils and troubles are befallen them, that this song shall testify against them as a witness. And this is why we go into the scriptures to show that who the Israelites are, because these words are testifying against them for the evils that they've done, and it's also testifying or is a witness as to who the Israelites are, based off of the things that the Lord said that Israel would be going through. For it shall not be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed, for I know their imagination which they go about even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swear. And how much more now, so many thousands of years later. Now let's move from there. Let's hit a couple of examples. Let's go to Joshua chapter 6 and verse 18. It says, and ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest you make yourselves accursed, when you take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel accursed, and trouble it. And this was the Lord warning Israel not to take anything when they were going around, taking down these different nations. And Achan went up in there and took, the different Babylonian garments, some gold, I believe, some silver, and he hid it. And that thing became a trouble unto Israel. Now let's go from there to the 7th chapter and the 25th verse. 7th chapter and the 25th verse. It says, and Joshua said, why hast thou troubled us? This is dealing with Achan. So there was a situation where this particular man that disobeyed the Lord, with his action, he troubled Israel. That's why they were getting beat in the when they went to war. So Joshua knew that something was wrong. That's why he prayed to the Lord. The Lord shall trouble thee this day. So since you troubled Israel, the Lord is going to trouble you this day. And you Israelites out there that have been troubling Jake out there, troubling the Lord, doing what you've been doing, you're about to be in trouble right now, in this time of trouble, this day of trouble that's coming, these perilous times. It says, and all Israel stoned him with stones and burned them with fire, after they had stoned them with stones. So they stoned them and set him on fire. And this is what Esau is pretty much going to do to you, to 2/3 of you Israelites out there. You're going to be grabbed up. You're going to be put in these concentration camps. You're going to be beaten. You're going to starve. It's going to be hell on earth for you so-called Negros, Latinos, and Native American Indians out there that don't turn back unto the Lord. Now, there will be some men of the Lord that are going to have to suffer that, but ultimately the Lord will deliver Israel from that. Now, let's go from there, the elect. Let's go from there to 1 Kings, the 18th chapter, and the 17th and 18th verse. And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubleth Israel? So Ahab, this wicked king, asked Elijah if he was the one that troubles Israel, because he was the one that brought it was the Lord by the mouth of Elijah that brought that famine. It says, and he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, and that you have forsaken the commandments of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and thou hast followed Balaam. And that's what Jake is doing. They're forsaking the covenant of the Lord, and they're following Balaam, which the word Balaam is a plural way of saying lords, which at that time, this was the name of this particular so-called God, this fake God. of the Canaanites. You had the Philistines and all them. They had different gods that Jake was following. Today, it's the same thing. By Jake bowing down to this man's system, he's pretty much bowing down to their gods, to their deities. Just like during the time of Nebuchadnezzar, during the time of the different kings that were set up of these different nations that gave different decrees that everyone had to follow the ways of that particular kingdom at the point of death. So now let's go from there to the book of 2 Kings, chapter 19 and verse 1. It says, "And it came to pass when King Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of the Lord. And he sent Eliakim, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders and the priests covered with sackcloth to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos. And they said unto him, Thus saith Hezekiah, This day is a day of trouble, and of rebuke, and blasphemy. For the children are come to the birth, and there is not strength to bring forth." See, so there's going to come a point where this trouble is going to be like a woman that is in her 9th month of birth, and she has tremendous pains, but there's not enough strength in her to give forth and bring that child forth so that she can be delivered of that pain. And that's what it's going to be like for a lot of these Israelites out here. They're going to be like that woman in her 9th month of pregnancy, being greatly pregnant and having great pains, and can't be delivered because she doesn't have enough strength to push to get the baby out of there to so that those pains can go away. So now let's go from there to the book of Isaiah, chapter 42. Oh, matter of fact, before I read that, what happened to... Just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so all right, so let's continue on. Let's go from there to Isaiah 42. Like I said, the Spirit's got me going through these precepts, so we're gonna hit these precepts as long as we could go, and then wherever the Spirit leads it. Isaiah chapter 42, verse 22. "But this is a people robbed and spoiled," that's dealing with the nation of Israel. "They are all of them snared in holes. They are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth." See, so that's the point. There's going to be a point where there's going to be Israelites out there that are not going to be delivered this time from these perils that are coming. "For a spoil, and none saith restore," because no one is going to restore you, because this is the very end. These are those perilous times, those times of trouble that the Lord said would be coming. "Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, he against whom we have sinned?" Yeah, so since we troubled the Lord had troubled us in different captivities. And it's no different now. That's why Yahushai said, since you have kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which will come upon all the world to try them. It says, "For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore hath he poured upon him the fury of his anger." And these devils, the military, the way they're coming, they're going to come with the fury of the Lord in them. That's why I said they shall be as madmen, sparing none. They're going to be like insane with a thirst for blood, because that's the Lord using them to bring this wrath and this anger and this hatred upon you. "And the strength of battle, and it had set him on fire round about, yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart." Because a lot of you're gonna die, and not even consider. This is gonna be a very, very devastating time. So now let's go from there to 2 Chronicles 29. And this, these precepts here are built up. Some of them are built up off the word trouble. 2 Chronicles 29:8. It says, wherefore the wrath of the Lord was upon Judah and Jerusalem, and he had delivered them to trouble, to astonishment, and to hissing, as you see with your eyes. Why? Because Jake forsook the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And although we're out there telling them that you know, we were out there telling them that these times are coming. Now the times are here. And now you're going to see some of them want to get right. But for a lot of them, it's going to be too late. Because this is going to be some shit, baby. It's going to be some shit going down soon. All right, so now let's go from there to Psalms chapter 3, verse 1. It says, the Psalm of David when he fled from Absalom his son. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. And that's the same thing that's going on right now. The trouble is increased, and there are many that rise up against me. But just like the scripture that Elder Apostle Gabar brought out years ago, when the cops surrounded us out there in Stanford, he brought this precept out. Psalms 27:3. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise up against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. Because at the end of the day, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will deliver us when that time comes. This is Psalms chapter 22, verse 11. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none to help. And that's the thing. There's not going to be any to help you Jakes out there that haven't taken heed to the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This is your meal ticket out of here. But for a lot of you ain't going to get down with it. Psalms 10:1. Why standest thou far off, O Yahweh Bashem Yahushai? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? And these times of trouble are going to be vicious, man. You know, we talk about it, but we don't really know the extent of what's going to really go down. You know, we can talk about it. We see movies. We see different things. We have an imagination. You know, we can talk about it, but to actually see it, you know, go, you know, play out, you got to remember the Lord said he's a king of terrors. You know, so it's going to be very heart-wrenching. And this is why in certain prophecies, the prophets, you know, they mourned, man. They got sick. They were in terrible, agonizing fear from the things that they saw. So just imagine. It says, Job 34:19, how much less, is that the verse? Yep. How much less to him that accepteth not the persons of the princes, nor regardeth the rich more than the poor. For they are all the work of his hands. So all these people you see are the works of the Lord's hand. In a moment shall they die, and the people shall be troubled at midnight. And this is what we're approaching. We're approaching the midnight, the darkest hour of the night. And this is going to be the darkest hour of Israel, you know, upon the whole world. That's why I said there shall be a time of trouble such as was never since there was a nation, even to that same time. It says, and pass away, and the mighty shall be taken away without hand. And this is why it says at midnight there was a cry made. So we're in the midnight, which is Esau's midnight. And 2/3 of Jacob are dead sleep in that midnight. And they will be judged. It says, for his eyes are upon the ways of man, and he seeth all his going. So the Lord sees everything that's going on. There is no darkness, no shadow of death, where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves. And this is why, no matter how secretive these devils try to keep things, the Lord sees all of this, because the eyes of the Lord are everywhere. The eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, which are the angels. And they're beholding everything. That's why it says, don't curse the king, no, not in thy chambers. For that which hath wings will go and tell the matter. Well, it just shows you that these devils, as so-called wise as they are, they're really stupid. They're really imbeciles. Because they don't think that the Lord is watching them, which shows you that they're not spiritual. And they don't have the fear of the Lord in them. But they will learn it. For he will not lay upon man more than right, that he should enter into judgment with the Most High. He shall break in pieces mighty men without number, and set others in their stead. Therefore he knoweth their works, and he overturneth them in the night. So Esau's night is about to be overturned, so that they are destroyed, and the Lord is going to destructure them. And then the international bankers that survive this devastation, they will be the first ones to taste of slavery, and that's the Edomites, and also the other nations, because you have kings and rulers and top banking elite among the other nations also that are in bed with Esau. It says he striketh them as wicked men in the open sight of others, because they turned back from him and would not consider any of his ways. And 2/3 of you Israelites are going to be in this bad case. So that they caused the cry of the poor to come unto him, and he heareth the cry of the afflicted. And the Lord hears our cries, man. Because even so, even much more now, as this devil puts that evil clutch on the world, just to push forth his agenda, which on a higher level, higher spiritual level, is really the Most High bringing these judgments upon the earth. And that's why there's so many people on the planet, because this is the time of judgment, the final judgment of the world. That's why there's 8 billion people on the planet now. There always been, in was it 1826, I believe it is, 1800s, early 1800s, there were 1 billion people, and from that point till now, about 200 years in the future, you have 8 billion people on the planet. Why is that? It's because the Lord is bringing judgment upon them. When he giveth quietness, who can make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who can behold him? And this is when the Lord hides his face, 2/3 of you Israelites, you're not going to be able to seek the Lord. You ain't going to be able to seek the Lord. We're going to get to some of them precepts, Lord's will. Whether it be done against a nation or against a man only. And in this case, it's being done against nations. That the hypocrite reign not, lest the people be ensnared. And when the hypocrite reign, which is Esau, the people are ensnared. They're trapped. That's why it says, when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. This world is in a state of mourning. All right, so now let's go from there to the book of Hosea, chapter 5. Hosea chapter 5, verse 15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense. And there's going to come a point in time where the Lord is going to shut down everything. These people are going to be looking for the word. They're going to be looking for answers, and they ain't going to find it. When the word was readily available, they was thinking about going to the restaurants and getting their food and going shopping and getting the latest fashions, to go out, to go to these different events that are all shut down now. And the Lord made these devils shut the circuses down so that the whole world can focus on what the fuck is going on, what they're doing, because that's the Lord bringing it. So they took away pretty much the majority of their entertainment to focus their mind on what's going on, which shows you that these devils plan on doing something. Because why would they shut all of that down? You see, that's their bread and butter. So why would they shut that down if this was just a fluke, so to speak, if they didn't plan on using this? Now it could go back to normal, and something else could come up, but why waste this? They always say, why never let a crisis go to waste. So what better way than this? They got the whole world. Why waste it? They got the world where they want it. They got the world by the balls, so to speak. It says, and seek my face in their affliction, they will seek me early. But guess what? It's going to be too late for a lot of you. Isaiah 55 and 6. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Because there's going to come a time where he's not going to be found. You read Proverbs, the first chapter. You know, the Lord said he called, you refused. So, hey, when your calamity comes upon you, your time of trouble, your time of distress, the Lord's going to laugh at you. He's going to laugh at you. All right, now let's go to the main scripture, Jeremiah 30:7, which brothers already know. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that there is none like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And the word for trouble should be the same as fear. Yep, Tazarah. All right, but it says, but there's a footnote to it. But he shall be saved out of it. That's why I saved this precept here, and that Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, with standards for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time that people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book, meaning the elect. So in this time of trouble, there's going to be the elect that's going to be saved out of it and enter into what the scriptures call the first resurrection, the first dominion. All right. Now let's go from there to the book of Psalms 108. Let's see what that says. And 7. The Most High hath spoken in his holiness. I will rejoice. I will divide Shechem. No, that's not it. Is it 108? Let me see. Just bear with me 1 second. Just bear with me 1 second. I figured that would happen. You end up writing the wrong scripture down. So many numbers popping out at you. Just bear with me 1 second. Let me see if I can find this one precept, just to see what it says. If not, we'll just move on, because we're almost at the end of the lesson. Is that what it was? Ooh, yeah. See, Psalms 138:7. All right, Psalms 138:7. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. See, thou shalt stretch forth thine hand against the wrath of mine enemies, and thy right hand shall save me. And this is why the scriptures say, comfort ye, my people. Because although devastation and trouble and anguish is coming and death is coming, there's still hope and faith and salvation for the nation of Israel. So you brothers out there that's doing this work, you know, there's a salvation coming. You sisters out there that's been faithful to Yahweh Bashem El Shai, you know, salvation is coming. You know, so we're not going to have to worry about that. I mean, like I said, the scriptures say that there's some that's going to have to go through that. But for the most part, the elect are going to be safe from these things. You know? All right, so now let's go from there to Psalms 102. 102. Just bear with me 1 second. Let me just... Okay, so the book of Psalms 102 and let's start at 1. I'll just go straight to the point. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry come unto thee. Hide not thy face from me in the day when I am in trouble. Incline thine ear unto me in the day when I call. Answer me speedily. You know? Because the Lord is going to deliver us speedily. The scriptures say that the righteous shall scarcely be saved, right? Let's go to Luke. What is that? 18 and 7. Start at 8. And the Lord said, 6. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge saith. And shall not the Most High avenge his own elect, which cried day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? See? So it seemed like it's taking a while, but though it tarry, wait for it will surely come, it will not tarry. I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. See? So the Lord said, the unjust judge said that the Lord is going to avenge us speedily. Let's see. Tacos. Quickness, speed. See? Lightning fast. It says, nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? Well, he will find faith among the elect, because the elect will be saved. But this showing there's going to be so much dread and terror on the earth that, it's going to be hard to find faith. But the elect will have the faith, because the Lord Yahweh B'Shem El Shai will give faith to the elect. So now let's go from there to, may have to do if the Spirit allows, I may do a part 2 to this, because I still got a bunch of precepts on here. 2 Chronicles, I'll read maybe like 2 more and then we'll close out. 2 Chronicles 15 and 4. But when they in their trouble did turn unto the Lord, the power of Israel, and sought him, he was found of them. See? So this is the key, seeking the Lord while he may be found. And he will be found by the elect. Nehemiah, right? Is that Nehemiah? Yep. 9 and 27. It says, therefore thou deliverest them into the hand of their enemies who vexed them. And is that not what's happening right now? It says, and in the time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee, and now we crying unto the Lord, thou heardest them from heaven. And according to thy manifold mercies, thou gavest them saviors, which is what? Judges, who saved them out of the hand of their enemies. And that's where the Lord sends forth the prophets first. And ultimately, he's going to say who? Send who? Yahweh Shai. Because the scripture said that he saw that there were no intercessors, there was no savior. So his hand brought forth salvation unto them, which is Yahweh Shai, who saved them out of the hand of their enemies. In verse 32, now therefore our power, the great, the mighty, and the terrible power, who keep his covenants and mercies, let not all the trouble seem little before thee that hath come upon us, on our kings, on our princes, and on our priests, and on our prophets, and on our fathers, and on all thy people, since the time of the kings of Assyria unto this day. And even now, we're going through these troubles. So now let's jump from there to Isaiah 66. And 9, shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth, saith the Lord? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, saith the Lord, thy power? So no, the Lord is going to bring to the birth, and he's going to bring forth. Because trust and believe, by the time Yahweh Shai gets here, we're ready to go now. So just imagine after all this hell breaks out and Yahweh Shai cracks them clouds. Job chapter 5 verse 19. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. All right, that's self-explanatory. Psalms 9 and 9. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. And this is why the name of this lesson is the times of trouble, but the elect will be delivered out of this. Let's see what else we got. Psalms 20 and 1. The Lord hear thee in the day of trouble. The name of Yahweh B'Shem El Shai, the power of Jacob, defend thee. That's why it's so important. Those names are so important. But it's not just having a name. It's having a name and also doing. Because faith without works is dead. Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem El Shai is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. And in the name of the Lord, there is safety. But it's not just about knowing the name of the Lord. It's about actually doing. Bringing forth the action. You know? All right, so I think I'll leave it there. Still got another handful of precepts, but pretty much the point is made that the times of trouble are coming. 2/3 of you Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians are going to get caught up into it. But the elect will be delivered, will be protected. Matter of fact, I'll leave you with the famous Revelation chapter 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And this time that is coming is going to leave people in a desperate state, in a desperate, destitute state. And this is how Esau likes to do it, because he's a faggot, straight up. He's not going to come, when you're at your strongest point. He's going to come when you're at your weakest, because that's how the devil operates, because he's a coward. He's not going to come at you when you're full strength. He's going to come at you when we're at our weakest, pretty much. But the Lord said so, because the hell that's going to come upon this earth, the minds of men and women, especially men, is going to be in desperation. So how much more women and children? They're going to be in total desperation for a solution to end this sorrow, this misery, this hunger, this hell. And in that misery is where they're going to be presenting this microchip, which is the mark of the beast, to end people's problems. And the ones that take that microchip, which is the mark of the beast, will be destroyed by those missiles. You'll get a temporary relief, but guess what? You're going to be devastating penalties to suffer. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And this is why we see right now this pandemic sweeping across the globe, and they're using this as a perfect opportunity to push forward their agenda. Now, whether or not they allow things to go back to normal or not, it remains to be seen. Like right now, we're finding out that in D.C. things are pretty much normal. Because remember, the scriptures say that as in the days of Noah, they were eating and drinking and giving in marriage. So there's going to be certain places that are going to be straight and other places that are going to be in an uproar. So that's just a part of the prophecies. Like during World War I and World War II, they were still partying, giving in marriage, getting drunk, doing different things, going about their daily lives and business and all that. Well, it's the same thing now. Anyway, with that, this has been the times of trouble. I put some of the articles in the description box. Don't forget, Elder Apostle Gabar's. It's hard to find his channel, because I've typed in Israelite, simply Israelite, and it will not come up under that. I tried Israelite channel, it won't come up. So I got in these couple of videos, couple of lives that I've done, I actually have his page in the description box that you can just copy and paste or click on and go to his page. Then under his, I have my GMS Info Doc channel 13, and then Elder Sakaran's channel words GMS words drop like honey. So you could pretty much subscribe to those. That way you can find the latest, when some of these other channels may be shut down. And I put some of these websites, these articles in the description box also. I couldn't put all the videos because I have a lot in there, so I just put, what I could. So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. Stay strong, stay safe, stay vigilant, keep on fighting that good fight. Keep on pushing them videos out. Keep on giving this devil hell verbally, spiritually, through the words and powers of Yahweh Bashem El Shai. If you can go out, go out. If you can't, just keep doing your videos until they shut everything down. And then we just sit back and watch the Lord do his thing. So with that, I pray that you have been edified. Till the next time I say shalom. That's why those names are so important. But it's not just having a name. It's having a name and also doing. Because faith without works is dead. Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem El Shai is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. And in the name of the Lord there is safety. But it's not just about knowing the name of the Lord. It's about actually